ending 6% commission, Tom, I'm coming to you with this, could turn out to be a Venus flytrap situation. Rob, pull up the picture of Venus flytrap. It's very important for us to educate these people who don't have a clue what a crazy. How do you not know what a Venus flytrap is?
Flies.
If you've ever seen the movie Little Shop of Horrors,
right? Well, like
Audrey, yeah,
like what kind of demon plant?
I'm hungry.
Ending 6% commission could turn out to be a Venus flytrap situation for home buyers, and economist says, okay. First time I learned what a Venus flytrap was yesterday. So National Association of Realtors settlement expected to take effect in mid-July. Pending approval aims to remove upfront display of commissions for buyers agents on multiple listing surveys, a move that could result in additional costs for home buyers. According to a real estate economist, Ken Johnson, the situation resembles a Venus flytrap where buyers might find themselves at a disadvantage. Johnson cautioned that approaching listing agents directly could leave buyers ill-equipped to secure the best deal. Going directly to a listing agent who represents a seller in a legal sense puts the buyer at an extreme disadvantage in terms of bargaining power and market knowledge. With the proposed changes, buyers may need to cover their agent's fee themselves, potentially adding significant expenses to their home purchase. For instance, on a $400,000 house, paying 3% commission to a buyer's agent would translate to an additional $12,000 in cost for the buyer. Tom, what are your thoughts on this story?
Well, first of all, this is economist Ken Johnson, who represents the real estate industry. So what side is he on? They didn't want the status quo to be upset. They didn't want buyers and sellers, they didn't want people to be able to negotiate with realtors and say, hey, there's a very nice house. Why don't you do it for 4%? Because there's 3 guys that want to represent me. Oh, okay, I'll do it 4%. That's the way this is going to work. You know, somebody selling the house has the control. And what they're saying is if buyers go direct to a listing agent, that's not the way it works. When you want to buy a house, you will have a buyer's agent that will somebody represent you. And this guy's trying to stoke fear that this law is going to create problems and everything. And so he's representing the industry, but that's not the way it's going to work. Somebody's going to say, hey, Vinny goes and he says, I'm going to go buy that little house. He goes up there. No one's going to say, oh, you're kind of screwed. You're going to have to be paying the fees, because the guy selling it's going to go, no. Chris is going to say, no, wait a minute. If Vinny's capable and can buy my house, I'd like to sell him a house because I'd like to have a good buyer come in. I'd like to sell my house. I don't want the listing to be here forever. And so you make a deal and they say, well, we've agreed with, Adam, the realtor. He's going to do it for 4%. We're going to do this. This is basically, the industry is scared to death of the power that they're giving the buyers.
Is this a good thing or a bad thing?
This is a very good thing, because people have been sitting there 6% like it or not.
Is it a good thing for people like you, where you're in the 1%, Tom, because you could actually be a realtor? Or is it good for the 80% of buyers?
I think this is good for the buyers and sellers who are no longer forced into a 6% arrangement. They can negotiate with the best listing agent they want, find someone they like, and come to agreement on the commission.
I disagree with our friend Tom here, because we're in the insurance business. We've seen what's happened with the DOL laws. I'm actually shocked that our friend Tom, who's been an advocate for the Department of Labor, what's going on in the insurance business, isn't advocating for your real estate friends, Tom. Here's the reality. We know if you're selling a $10 million house, $20 million house, they're going to negotiate with you up front. The 6% is going to get split, 3 and 3. That gets the trickle-down effect. But to me, this is the seller trying to save 10 grand, but ends up losing out on 100 grand in the long run. So great. So I have a good friend, Gio. He watches the podcast all the time, my realtor. He says, number one, you just got to be forthright about the commissions. Straight up, this is how it works. This is what's going on. Let's have this conversation up front. Number two, I'm going to bust my ass for you. I'm going to get the best deal possible for you. My job is incredibly hard, incredibly different. I'm going to carry the brunt of paying out the out-of-pocket costs to market your house. And number three, if you want to go about this alone, go for it. Good luck. You're not going to do the best job possible. You're going to get screwed. So are there situations that you can negotiate commissions? Sure. But I firmly believe that salespeople in finance, in insurance, in real estate deserve their commissions. And if they don't, they're weeded out of the industry anyway.
Yeah, I mean, Tom, this reminds me of the one realtor that, we were introduced to from our church in L.A. to sell our last house, which I'm sure you remember this story with that smile on your face. So she gets introduced to represent our house. And I watch her when people come and look at the house. And it's driving me insane at this point that this girl doesn't know how to sell this house.
Oh, no.
So finally, I told her, I got a couple people coming to looking at the house today. I don't want you to come. Don't come. Just stay home. So she says, what are you talking about? Everybody wants their agent to be there. I don't want you to be there, but I'll sell for you. You don't need to come. The guy comes, okay? I sell him the house. I give the tour, everything. He makes the biggest offer, cash price, cash offer. I call her. I said, it's done. You can handle the whole thing. I said, from here, don't talk to the client. Just do the paperwork. You shouldn't be talking to clients. You're not a salesperson. We sold the house. She sucked as a realtor, okay? So there are certain people who will kind of go back to his point. They absolutely don't do the client the right amount of service to seller because they're just trying to kind of sell it and get a check for them, right? They're not thinking about that additional $100,000. Yeah. It's $2.2 million or whatever the house is. Like, I'll sell them for this value. Now, some realtors that bust their ass for you, let me tell you, those guys don't get paid enough money. Some of the guys that do a good job. But, in some instances, it's actually a great idea. In some instances, I can see Tom's argument as well. Because if Tom comes to your house, Vinny, okay, I guarantee you within 20 minutes, this is how Tom is. This is what he does. You just lose Tom.
Yeah.
He does one of these things.
He's going into Tom mode.
Is in Tom mode.
Yeah.
He says, for about $220,000 you put into this house, you can probably increase the valuation by a couple $1 million if you did this. And here's what I would do. And Anything he buys, he makes it better. You know that saying, I leave you better than I found you? That
real.
Really is Tom.
Yeah.
Not just with people, with property as well.
Okay.
That's how Tom is. So Tom never needs a realtor. Tom literally doesn't need a realtor. For the average person, they need this service. Chris,
Tom, when can you come to my house?
Yeah, exactly.
Tom is not the average dude.
He's not.
Tom comes in with paperwork, case studies. This is the guy that doesn't need a realtor.
Tom's father was a rocket scientist, guys.
Vinny, listen, when you go to buy your house, take Tom.
What do you mean?
Or take a realtor.
You already did.
Don't
I already
do it
did.
yourself, Vinny.
I already did.
You'll get
We're
screwed,
gonna do it again.
to save $5,000.
Chris, what are your thoughts on this story?
Listen, it's always tempting to have variability in a locked-in system, right? There is something unsatisfying about having someone tell you, this is how it works, it's 6%.
Yeah.
And you want to play with that because you may think, like Pat does, well, one, I'm very competent, or my house sells itself, and you're not even doing anything. Everybody in the market right now is dying for this. You should take less. So there's an appeal to that. But also things in such a well-worked system as real estate tend to be the way they are because that's the way it works best. So I think you have a balancing effect here. I do wonder, you made the point, Pat, in terms of the 1%, the sophisticated people like Tom, but I do wonder if it's about, well, what type of real estate are we talking about? If there are 1,000 units that are just like this one, and and there's very little variability in price, well, then you're going to have to work it to get this to sell. You're going to have to put money into print and advertising. You're going to have to work your contacts. You're going to have to do things. But if we're trying to sell your house right now, I don't know why you'd need a realtor, right? All you have to do is just say on the show that you want to sell it, and you'd have like 50 offers the next minute. So I think it's situational. And there are a lot of, to Adam's point, there are already a lot of protections in place when it comes to real estate. So I don't think it's about needing to keep the percentage locked in where it is because that's where everyone's safest. I think it depends on where it is. My concern is more with the insurance market that you're starting to see industries take advantage of their customer base for their own profits. We're seeing that certainly in the insurance world. We're seeing it in California now. You guys are dealing with it here in Florida. We're starting to deal with it in New York. Certain industries are looking to start exploiting their customer base because the margins aren't what they want it to be anymore. I don't know that that's true in real estate.
Well, by the way, and it's not exploiting, right? It's more the incentive because once incentive leaves, interest leaves, right? Yep. So what is my interest of doing this? There is no incentive. So guess what? I'm out of here. I don't want to do this anymore. So that's the problem with this. But by the way, Tom, what was it before? So after this thing, was it 6% before that now they're saying now the seller can negotiate with the realtor? Right.
There were disclosures and they weren't, remember, this is not hey, let's just change the rules. This was a 15-year court case. It started with an arbitration, went from here to here to here, and this is a settlement that the industry had to make, with America. And they removed the upfront display of commissions for buyers agents. And so that buyers and sellers could look at it, and somebody selling a house had more control. Because remember, right now, everything comes out of the seller's hide except, right, the origination fees on the mortgage. A buyer comes up, they pay an origination fee or whatever fees on their loan, and that's it. Everything comes out of the seller's hide. Hey, the faucet's dripping. I don't like that. Maybe, well, wait, you're going to buy a house. There's going to be maintenance you have to do. Yeah, but I want you to fix this. And it gets ticky-tack. All of that just lands on the seller. And this basically said, hey, we have to disclose this differently, and buyers and sellers should be able to negotiate.
I almost think there's a part of it that's already happening anyways. Like, it's already going on. Like, negotiation with, I'm not doing it for this price. I'm only doing it for this percentage. So I'm only I'm not going to do it. Okay, no problem. Here's what I want. You can put all that stuff. And then, by the way, say you over negotiate and you're like, hey, babe, we got this guy good. We over negotiated. His motivation goes away. He's got cases he's going to make more money on. So it's like you have to also manage the incentives. But the amount of traffic we're getting right now with Monect is unbelievable. Yesterday, I can't even tell you how many Monects came through yesterday for me. Great conversations, people booking 15-minute calls. Tom is about to cross 2,000 Monects. Okay, he'll be the first person to have 2,000 paid Monects there. I know Chris is probably one of the fastest to respond on Monect. I think he's a 24-hour guy. At 100% response back to answer. So if you have any questions today, if you disagree with me or agree with Tom or Vinny or Adam or Cuomo, these are their QR codes. Ask him any question you want on Monect. There's a 95% chance you get a response back. On Instagram, you get a response back 5%. On LinkedIn, 5%. On Twitter, less than 10%. On Monect, there's a 90 to a 95% chance they're going to get back to you.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.